key rule of vlogging and why my trip to Taiwan didn't work. Show, don't tell. That's true of anything in video. Show, don't tell. So I had an epic adventure the other day, and I'm not going to tell you much about it. Basically, I was out riding my bike. It was on a long 20-kilometer, long-ish. I was just going to lunch. 20-kilometer ride on my e-bike. I got a staple jammed into my rear tire, went right through the tannis armor, which is a protective layer that's supposed to prevent staples from being jammed right through your tire and into the inner tube, but it did not work. And I was about, I don't know, 8 to 10 kilometers from home when that happened. It's a very heavy bike. It's too heavy to put on the bus bike racks, so I had to walk it until I got to a business that I frequent, and I asked the manager if I could lock it up in their bike rack while I took a bus home, and then got the Prius, got it inside the Prius, which amazes me because it's a huge bike and I never thought it would actually fit. I did have to partially disassemble it. But I realized you have never seen my bike because I didn't have it when last we vlogged. So let's take a look at my bike. I've got to do some work on it today, and I'll give you a tour to start with. I've gone wide angle here on the lens so that we can take the whole bike in this kind of small space here in the kitchen, but this is where the best lighting is. This is a Rad Power Bikes, Rad City 5, I think, 5 Plus. I love the bike, and at the same time I hate it. Maybe we'll talk about some of my hates about it, but they typically involve flat tires, and particularly that tire, which happens to be the one that's flat. It is a 7-speed, only in the rear, no front derailleur. It's got it's a Class 2 e-bike, but you know, if you're one of those speed demons, it's easily software overridden to be a Class 3. It's got a throttle assist, which is legal here, but not in some places. Disc brakes, hydraulic. I have got it kitted out. This is the battery, by the way. I've got it kitted out with a frame lock. The frame lock has got a chain that can hook into it that can lock around the front tire. And then I've also got this ABUS. Well, it's a brute and a half of a lock. So, you know, when you lock that up, it's still, like all bikes, vulnerable to being stolen. But it's best we can do. Didn't really come with any place to attach water bottles, which in Arizona is cardinal sin. So I couldn't mount the frame lock on a water bottle cage mount. So that's strapped in with these. And then I purchased this add-on device, which is broken, as you can see. Originally I carried the lock on this side and the water bottle cage on that side, and there's also a pump tucked in there. That's all stuff I added onto the bike, as is all this crap. Rear view mirror, which has been dinged out of the way. Ooh, hello there. Hello. A motorcycle mount, because for the phone, because bike mounts tend to lose the plot, but something designed for a motorcycle takes a lot more vibration and speed. And then this one's more temporary, but it's a mount for a camera, which I don't have on there all the time, but I currently do. And back here, I have put a really old man's seat post on here. This is a hell of a nice springy seat post. And also I've got an old man's seat. That's called a Spongy Wonder. and I'm still trying to get the distance and the angle right for it to be, well, I don't know that seat will ever be comfortable, but the question is, can it be not crippling? Down here, I've got you can't see it, but it's on that side. There's a key lock there. This is a locking seat post clamp. And I think that's pretty much it. That is what's bike. Oh, and then I've also put a toe peak bag. I have a toe peak bag on my acoustic bike and a rack. This bike comes with a rack, so I had to toe peak. The cool thing about a toe peak bag is that they are on tracks, and so they just slide off like that, and you can mix and match. I've got a smaller bag, I've got a basket, I can just pop them in and out, but I had to buy this third-party plate to mount onto my rack for the toe peak bag, because I'm not going to take that rack that's part of the bike off and try to mount a toe peak bag. So today the goal is to get this thing, which weighs a ton, up onto the bike stand, get the rear wheel off, and decide what I'm going to do about fixing the flat. Am I going to try to fix the tube? Am I going to order a new tube? I don't know yet. But let's get it up on the rack first. This bike weighs like 55 pounds before you add all the stuff. It's a brute. It's definitely not one that you want to be picking up a lot, and that includes putting it on the stand here, which the stand is rated for the weight, but my back is not. So we bring the stand down absolutely as low as possible, whenever possible, and try to mount it as high on the bike as we can, which really the practical spot is here at the, probably get it in here, but then you're angling the bike at funny angles. But what we do to start with is take this battery off, which weighs a ton. I already took the bag off when we were looking earlier. Take the seat out. Take this lock off, which weighs several pounds. And that's about as light as we're going to get this bike, practically speaking. So the next move is to get it up into this thing. And that's always fun. Ooh. All right. Are we ready? Lift with your legs. In. Couple cranks. Tighten it up. That wasn't so bad. Now, got to take the tire off. I'll spare you that, but that is the next step. I've ordered a new tube. I wasn't sure if I was going to try to patch this one or if I was going to try to, I don't know, well, patch or replace. Those are my choices. But I've had enough flat tires with this thing, even with the Tannis Armor. This is my second flat with Tannis Armor. It's about my sixth flat on this bike, which is in I don't know, over 30,000 miles riding a road bike in Tucson when I was 40 years younger. I think I had 2 flats. Of course, those tires are, this big, so it does make a difference. But, and it doesn't weigh as much, so you don't drive it home as hard. But nonetheless, it's been very frustrating. And I'm thinking I might get one of those spray inflators that has gunk in it to fill the tire next time I have a flat on the road. And the hell with it. But instead I ordered tubes that already have sealant in them. So I will try those and see if it makes any difference. But the first order of business is finding that staple. And there it is. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, that's in there. I think I'm going to bring the camera in here for a close-up as I extract this thing. So let's do that. All right, yeah, there's a staple. Let's see. There's no air left in this tire, so it's not like when I pull this out, it's going to... It's a lot harder. That's awfully wet. What the heck is that? This is hard to do while also holding a camera. Not being as efficient as I would like it to be. Gee, many Christmas. That is in there tight. All right. Holy crap, this thing is big. Huh. Ah. Wow. Look at the size of that thing. Yeah, that, which I'm sure will be out of focus, but I mean, it's huge. It's absolutely huge. I don't even know what kind of staple that is. I've never seen anything quite that shape. Usually when they get this long, they get a lot wider, but you know, the Tannis armor is only a couple centimeters thick. It's foam rubber, basically. And so most punctures, you know, hit that and just don't make it to the tire. But this was all the way to the hilt, so it would have been all the way to the tube. It would have practically to the rim. It probably hit the rim when I was realizing I was going flat. But yeah. Well, the tubes unfortunately won't arrive until tomorrow. I got two. I only need one. Better to have a spare. I can't believe I don't have a spare, but I don't appear to have a spare. So I'm not going to do anything with the bike till tomorrow, except lament the fact that it is a gorgeous day outside, and I think it's 25 degrees here in late November, and blue skies, and that would be such a lovely day to be riding. And I'm not, because some asshole couldn't keep his staples in the bed of his truck, or whatever the hell this came from. Here's a quick tip. When you're removing a tire from an e-bike with a rear motor in the hub, don't forget to disconnect the motor before you take the tire off. I don't know how far I'm going to go today, but really every time I work with this Tannis armor, I get into a rage. So I don't want to get into a rage. I just want my bike to be rideable. So today I'm going to try, well, I'm going to pull the wheel off the rim, and I think my first go will be to try to take the tube out. So the Tannis armor wraps around the inside. It's orange, you can't miss it. And then I'm going to try to pull the tube out and see if I can leave the Tannis armor in place and insert the tube as if it were just an extra thick tire. We'll see how that goes. And then we'll go from there. But if that doesn't look like it's working, I might throw up my arms for the day and work on it again tomorrow. Okay, that was brutal. That was 20 minutes to get this tire off. And I put it on there. So it's not like, well, it took a long time to get it on. The Tannis armor really, really makes it awful. Now I'm going to pull the tube out. And again, I'm going to try to keep the Tannis armor. You can see this is the armor. And this basically wraps all the way around the tube, more or less. I'm going to get the old tube out. I've taken the valve stem out, so there's no air in that at all. And then, if I have the patience, I'll try to put the new tube back in. I get, well, I can't call it hangry, but well, maintenance angry. I don't know. Is there mangry? That sounds more like mangy. Never mind. Anyway, that is the next step. And that is the hole that thing put through my tire. Went all the way through to the backside. Here is another 8 minutes of highly compressed video of me cramming the inner tube into the Tannis armor. Even more compressed is this 18 minutes of me fighting with the tire irons to get the tire back on the rim. I have, I think rather thoughtfully, dropped the audio out of this section so that you can't hear some of the things that I'm saying, which are just not suitable for YouTube. Just not suitable at all. And since I had the wheel off, I took this opportunity to change the brake pads too. Okay, the wheel is on. Sometimes it's easier to put it on the ground on some bikes, and some bikes it's easier to put it on when you're on a stand. I haven't found a good place to put this one on this bike. It's just a pain and almost always requires a spare set of hands. All right, but it's down off the rack now. The bolts have been hand tightened. There's a hanger. They call it the torque arm because the motor is on the rear wheel. It's keyed. There's a keyed axle so that the motor can only go in one way, and then that's bolted on the outside to keep it from ripping free, I guess. Anyway, that one requires 5 Newton meters of torque, and the axle hubs require 40, so torque wrenches all around. And put back together, it's time to take it out for a quick test ride to make sure the brakes work and that the wheel seems to be normal. It's not bad. Let's try the brakes at the stop sign. It's just a thought. All right. Yeah. Yep, that's good. That's good. Definitely the rear brakes are better than they were before. Yeah. All right, that's not bad. That's not bad. It's still a gorgeous day. Maybe I should ride 30 kilometers somewhere. See if I can get another flat. Huh. All right. Yep. Well, this is just a test run. So, time to take her back.